Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wadash. The double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS. Everyone well, peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of the video is You're Attacking Your Enemy While Telling Them You Have No Protection Against a Retaliatory Attack. All right, hopefully, today is January 7th, 2026. Right, and the United States of America has seized basically a Russian vessel, right, a Russian ship, which I don't have that pulled up, but that's a lot happening, but that's one of the things that has happened in Russia. Right after that, they're talking about basically making better defenses, so that's why I titled what I titled it, right? You're attacking your enemy while telling them because the scriptures say that the is it their own tongue will fall upon themselves, right? Which I'll grab that. Look it up. All right. So I want to grab this first, though. Or let me grab this actually. Psalms 64. Because this guy near 47, right? The Most High Yahweh Bashman Shah has taken the counsel from him, right? And he's posting everything on social media. Me personally, I feel that there's multiple people posting on his social media account, right? All the people that's in charge of the White House, right? The 1948ers, who is most of his cabinet, right? Which is what those experts and things were saying. They're all like Zionists, whatever the case may be. I believe they're all posting on his media the truth of what they want. What they want, what they don't want, what they think needs working on. All of that stuff. Okay, and or right. And they're saying things just out in the open, and it's true because you even have things that we know now, like Israel bringing 1,000 pastors to push a pro-Israeli narrative, or them paying $7,000 per post to say, "Hey, we're the greatest people on planet Earth." To people that want to post those things, right? So they're just saying things out in the open now. Some of it by mistake, some of it by force. As I posted on my page, a chick was talking about why are we hiding from the fact that we're Amalek? Like we should tell them we're Amalek. Uh, Different things. Brothers are posting videos where they're just saying things blatantly out loud. Even the whole greater Israel scheme, right? To know that, oh, we took this place, we took this place, and guess what? You're next. Like that person isn't going to prepare for the attack. No, it's no longer like a surprise attack, right? Trump is threatening everyone, Greenland, Colombia, all these different people. Is like, okay, well, I'm gonna just prepare, whatever the case may be. So Psalm 64 and 8, and this dude, Nathan Rothschild, Trump went into Venezuela, and this man talking about job well done. Who could have benefited from uh basically Venezuela becoming, destabilized to the point where they can now put in one of those the banks, the Rothschild banks. Sorry, I don't know the name. Not seen the post, but it's like, what the hell are you doing? Ain't you supposed to be like invisible? You're the top ranking family in the whole world, besides from the Israelites, of course, the true Israelites. You are the wicked and you run the world, and of the wicked, you're the chief of nations, the house of Amalek, right? And you're talking about job well done to Donald Trump. You're not, a fucking president or anything. You're just a regular civilian that owns the money, you know. So therefore, you own the world. But anyway, Psalm 64 and 8, it says, "So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away." So everything that they're doing, they're just saying out in the open now, and it's like, what the hell? Uh, I remember this one post. the dude posted basically that guy, Graham, the guy in the office with Trump, Graham, whatever his name is. He was saying that if you run for presidency in 2028 and you don't support Israel, you're not going to win. Dude was like, have these morons lost the plot? What the hell is going on? Like, they're just saying the shit out loud now. Okay, let me look at this in another translation. And that's all. When I seen this article, I'm like, what the hell? It says NLT, their own tongues will ruin them, and all who see them will shake their heads in scorn. AMP says, so they will be caused to stumble. Their own tongue is against them. All who gaze at them will shake their head in scorn. You know, ultimately, we all see that this is the wicked, right? And we see his plans and what he's trying to do. So now let me grab this because some of it is pride also. Now I'm gonna get the article. This Obadiah 1 and 1 NLT. It says this is the vision that the sovereign Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua revealed to Obadiah concerning the land of Edom. We have heard a message from the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. That ambassador was sent to the nations to say, get ready, everyone. Let's assemble our armies and attack Edom. The Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua says to Edom, I will cut you down to size among the nations. You will be greatly despised. You have been deceived by your own pride because you live in a rock fortress and make your home high in the mountains. An example of this is the fact that, for one, America has never been touched. And you can get into whether, the 9/11 event was real or any other event, right? But America hasn't been touched. And Zelensky made that perfectly clear, right? When he came here to America and pointed out the fact that America is prideful, right? He basically said Donald Trump is just chilling. You think you're good because he said you're surrounded by waters, so you don't think nothing can touch you. But he said it will soon touch you, you know. And so that's what I thought about. Obadiah 1 and 3 says, you have been deceived by your own pride because you live in a rock fortress and make your home high in the mountains. Who can ever reach us way up here? You asked boastfully. But even if you soar as high as eagles and build your nest among the stars, I will bring you crashing down, says the Lord Yahweh Bashem. If thieves came at night and robbed you, what a disaster awaits you. They will not take everything. Those who harvest grapes always leave a few for the poor, but your enemies will wipe you out completely. And ultimately, that goes into the missile that's going to be shot here on Babylon the Great is going to wipe out everything. Nothing's going to be left. All right. And that's exactly what's going to happen, especially when you're attacking your enemies and then immediately after attacking your enemies, run to say, we need defense and plants and things like that. So now this was posted on TASS and it was also posted over here, which I'll get, I'll read this one too, 1 hour ago. It says Trump pledged, so let me get it right here. It says US President Donald Trump said on Truth Social that he would press for the construction of new modern plants to produce weapons. It says in his post, Trump said salaries of top managers in the U.S. defense sector were exorbitant and unjustifiable. From this moment forward, these executives must build new and modern production plants, both for delivering and maintaining this important equipment and for building the latest models of future military equipment. Until they do so, no executive should be allowed to make in excess of $5 million, which, as high as it sounds, is a mere fraction of what they are making now, he continued. Trump added that he would not permit dividends or stock buybacks for defense companies until such time as these problems, slow production and servicing of U.S. weapons and military equipment, are rectified. So they're pointing out they have a problem, right? And they're pushing that all over the world while they threaten everybody that they want to fight them. Okay, this is and what this is happening is that they're preparing, and it's just crazy because they don't got no time. You're moving so fast to attack and you're trying to prepare while you're attacking, and then you're in this front, this battle, and you're over here in this front in that battle, right? You don't have enough missiles in one area to do anything, And I'm gonna get into that a little bit because this is not nothing new. Before Trump decided to pull back from Ukraine and stop helping NATO and EU, how he was with, I guess, the money or the weapon shipments, which is a problem. They have promised Ukraine this amount of weapons, which they can't even produce the amount of weapons that they would give them in time. And this has been talked about. But anyway, I forgot the point I was going to, but it all goes into it. This is Nahum 3:11. It says, "Thou also shalt be drunken, thou shalt be hid, thou also shalt seek strength because of the enemy." So they're trying to seek strength now because of the enemy, but at the same time, you have to understand that most of all of this is because of the 1948ers in the land of Israel. All right. We recently a video surfaced with the president Maduro speaking about how they're cosplaying over there in the land of Israel and they're not the actual Jews, right? So we've seen that could be a big part in it. Also, what I mentioned earlier regarding the banking elite not having a bank right there, that's a big part of it. And then also they were saying that, well, the war in with Iran is about to take place, so they're gonna have a squeeze on the oil over there. So Trump is seeking another source of oil, right? So that is another thing. So Jeremiah 50:45 says, "The least of the flock shall draw them out," right? The Amalekites, right? Who the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has made small and made greatly despised. The elder apostle Gabar was going into this earlier, right? It was a great breakdown of this, Obadiah 1 and 2, and in Jeremiah 50:45. It says KJV, Obadiah 1 and 2, "Because behold, I have made thee small among the nations, the heathen, that are greatly despised." Right? He's the least, right? The most hated. The scriptures say the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushua ruleth in the kingdom of men and set up over it the basis of men, right? Roughly paraphrasing scripture. And that basis of the men is the chief among the nations, the Amalekites. All right. He's the most wicked. So let me go back over here. Forgot where I was at, actually. I think I was reading this. All right, so reading this again. No, it wasn't Nahum. Okay. Nahum 3, and I get it from the top again. Nahum 3:11, it says, "Thou also shalt be drunken, thou shalt be hid, thou also shalt seek strength because of the enemy. All thy strongholds shall be like fig trees with the first ripe figs. If they be shaken, they shall even fall into the mouth of the eater." Right? So it's basically they will all fall down. All right. It says, "Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies. The fire shall devour thy bars." And ultimately, this is what is taking place, right? If you get Ezekiel 38 and you go into the prophecy about Gog in the future invasion of Israel, Gog is talking about Russia, right? Russia, from the land of Russia, right? Is what Gog, the land of Magog, is saying, right? It's just Russia, okay? And the Most High Yahweh Bashmi says to Russia, Ezekiel 38:3, "And say, thus said the Lord Yahweh Bashmi, behold, I'm against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal," right? Meshach, Tubal, Turkey. It says, and you can search Ezekiel 38 Bible map, right? And it'll tell you all about the Gog, Magog, Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, right? Gomer, and all of that, right? Meshach, Tubal. It says in verse 4, and I will turn thee back and put hook into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them equipped with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shield, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomar of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with me. Says, be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia is gonna, gather all these people, right, these nations together. Basically, they will all come together and ultimately go against Israel and ultimately America, right? Because Jeremiah 15:45 says that, you know, at least the flock will cause, let me grab it. Jeremiah 15:45 says, it says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. All right. I mean, I guess I'll get it from the top. Right. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, they have taken against Babylon. Right. Babylon is America. And his purpose is that he proposed against the land of the Chaldeans, America. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. All right. So Israel is going to be destroyed and America is going to be destroyed. Right. Israel will be built back up. Right. But America will be desolate forever. Okay. Says, yeah. So, so they're gonna come together and destroy Israel and America. All right. It says, after many days, Ezekiel 38 says, after many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel. So many people will be, gathered back to the land of Israel, right? That goes into something called the first Aliyah, the second Aliyah, right? Basically what, Israel telling people, hey, come to the land, come to the land, whatever the case may be. Mind you, these are the Amalekites over there in that area. It says, which have been always waste, but is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Right. So ultimately, our land was, we wasn't there, but they went back there, and they populated it and whatnot, and America basically kept them safe in that area. And they're still trying to keep them safe, but Russia is going to come against them. It says, thou shalt ascend and come like a storm, thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus said the Lord Yahweh Bashmah, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come to thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. Here we go. It says, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them, dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places, right, that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. Yeah, because these, ultimately what's happening right now is, Israel is going to drag America to the war against Iran. Iran is an ally with Russia, so to speak. They have some type of agreement happen. And on top of all of that, America is now having this done road doctrine where no one can go over there or, over here in the Western hemisphere. And the ship that was seized was headed for Venezuela, which also tells you, something, whatever the case may be. Why was it going to Venezuela if America captured Venezuela? Which I believe that's where it was going. I believe that's what I heard. Usually that's what they do. Russia goes over, they get the oil from Venezuela, come back, whatever the case may be. But America seized it. So now, Russia can't go to the Western hemisphere, right, and get oil. So now really the only oil they have is in their own area. And Israel and America is about to come to their area now and also be over there, right? And that's why you have Habakkuk 2. When is going to come to play. It says Habakkuk 2 and 5, and this is good. It says, yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, transgressive by wine, that wine is the Monroe Doctrine, right? His laws, right? His different things that he have in place. Mind you, when he took the Russian vessel, the Russian was like, hold up, you know, under such and such article, you cannot do that. And meanwhile, Trump is pulling up this article regarding the Monroe doctrine that you can't come over here and do oil, right? But then the boat that they seized was in international waters. So hey, we know exactly what's coming. Let me see what that said. It was like 10. I just want to bring this out because when U.S. seized that ship, like I said, they said, according to such and such, international law, you can't do that. Okay, let me see if I can find it. All right, so right here it says, earlier in the day, the Russian Ministry of Transport said that at about 3 p.m. Moscow time, the U.S. naval forces boarded the vessel in international waters outside territorial waters of any state, right? Contact with the ship has been lost. In accordance with the provisions of the 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, the high seas are governed by the principle of freedom of navigation, and no state has the right to use force against vessels duly registered under the jurisdiction of other states, they said. All right, and they didn't give a fuck. All right, they took the ship, but meanwhile they're holding a piece of document in your face saying, "Nah, this is my area," and that's why the pride of his heart have they deceived thee. The scriptures say his look was more stout than his fellows. All right, the scriptures also say, as for his enemies, he puffeth at them. That's going to that Psalms 10. All right. I believe it's like Psalms 10 and 5. It says, Habakkuk 2 and 5, it says, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. Neither keepeth at home. So now this man is claiming that his home is the Western Hemisphere. People are like, all right, cool, no problem. But he's gonna go over there. He's gonna go to the Levant region and help Israel. Right? It says, neither keepeth at home who enlarges his desire as hell and is as death. Yeah, that's why you have Isaiah 10, right? And really, I'm doing some research into what's happening about what else could be the reason why this devil is just warring. I mean, he's a warmonger. He's just fighting everybody. What does this go into? Basically, but that's just him. That's who he is as an individual. He's going to continue. And I said this so many times that even if he has this chip, he's going to continue the war because the chip is about to come out. But they're still trying to have greater Israel, right? They're going to have all power, right? They're going to have all power, right? With the chip, no man may buy or sell, so they had the mark, right? So the whole world is pretty much ready for this chip, right? But he's still trying to have greater Israel, still trying to have this, still trying to have that. So what is it saying? It says, Isaiah 10 and 5, O Syrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. I will send him against an hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him charge to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. Howbeit he meaneth not so, neither doeth his heart think so, but it is in his heart to destroy and cut off nations, not a few. All right. It says, NOT, but the king of Assyria will not understand that he is my tool. His mind does not work that way. His plan is simply to destroy, to cut down nation after nation. Right? He's going to continue to do that. Right? Until the Most High Yahweh Bashmiao Shah is done with him. And so much so that is to his detriment because it's messing up his own plans. You know, ultimately war is going to happen. World War III. Right? Even if he has the MOTB, right? He's going to continue to try to fight. You know? It says AMP, it says, yet it is not a serious intention to do my will, nor does it plan so in his heart. But instead it is purpose, but instead it is its purpose to destroy and cut off many nations. I don't like this one. Okay. Yet it is not a serious intention. Okay. But yeah, basically he's gonna continue to kill, right? John 10 and 10 says the thief cometh not, but to steal, kill, and destroy. Right, and that's exactly what he came to do. It says, reading this again, Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and keepeth unto him all people. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? Because he said, what did he say? He said, the done road doctrine, all this over here is mine. But now he's looking at Greenland. He's going to go to Israel and help them with it. You know, he's playing around with Taiwan. It says, how long? And to him that ate himself with thick clay. That thick clay is the debt. So not only is he walking around claiming shit that don't belong to him, he's accumulating debt that he owe people. He's like, yo, what you got going on? Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? So they're gonna have to, they're gonna handle that. All right, ultimately. All right. Let me continue this. Oh, I read that. Continue this going to the main one. So going back to this article, he's saying, yo, we need defenses after he's attacking his enemy. Nahum 3 and 13. Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies. The fire shall devour thy bars. It says, draw thee waters for the siege, fortify thy strongholds, go into clay and tread the mortar, make strong the brickman. Now we're measuring the time diligently in itself. And we see that the devil, Esau Edom, is coming out with great wrath because he knows they have but a short time. So he's trying to do all of this at once. We're seeing that. He's about to bring the MOTB World War III. He's threatening all the nations. He's telling them, I'm the big bad wolf. At the same time, he's trying to build his defenses because he don't have the defenses yet, even for the shit that he's boasting about, right? I'm still trying to figure out, the whole situation with this Venezuela. Yeah, he went in there and, he took the person, Maduro, but then he actually conquered the land. They're saying he has to go inside and actually fight, but that's just, it's like I was just sometimes thinking about, I'm trying to see, I'm honestly, this devil is moving crazy, making crazy decisions, crazy moves, but that's the most I can find in his counsel. Anyway, Nahum 3 and 14 says, draw thee water for the siege, fortify thy strongholds, go into clay and tread the mortar, make strong the brickman. Right, this is them preparing, right? That's why you have things like the Golden Dome, right, that they're trying to get, which they don't have yet, but they want it. It says, NOT, get ready for the siege, store up water, strengthen the defenses, go into the pits to trample clay and pack it into molds, making brick to repair the walls. That's what they're calling for now. It says, there shall the fire devour thee, the sword shall cut thee off. It shall eat thee up like the cankerworm. Make thyself many as the cankerworm, make thyself many as the locust. That's NLT. Basically, increasing his troops. NLT says, but the fire will devour you, the sword will cut you down, the enemy will consume you like locusts, devouring everything they see. There will be no escape, even if you multiply like swarming locusts. So it doesn't matter if you got a billion robot dogs, right? A billion little helicopter drones, or whatever the case may be, right? All of it is going to be burnt up. It says, thou hast multiplied thy merchants above the stars of heaven. The king from spoileth and fleeth away. And I said that what happened with the tariffs. Trump came into office and he was saying things like China is, you know, basically not making enough money. Somehow he was saying China is winning, whatever the case may be. It says NLT, your merchants have multiplied until they outnumbered the stars. But like a swarm of locusts, they strip the land and fly away. And he was basically saying, they're not paying their part in the money, you know, you know. So it says, Nahum 3:17, thy crown are as locusts, and thy captains as the great grasshoppers which camp in the hedges in the cold day. But when the sun rises and flee away, their place is not known where they are. And ultimately, everyone is saying, yeah, America has this air superiority, right? They're able to go in, guns are blazing from their helicopters, drop down out of the sky and capture somebody and fly away. But they can't do ground battles. They're saying they can't go into the jungles of Venezuela. We'll have to see. But the scriptures are saying what they're saying here, right? That they're not ready for it. It says, thy shepherds slumber, O king of Syria, thy nobles shall dwell in the dust, thy people will scatter upon the mountains, and no man gathered them. I'm pretty sure they heard stories about the Vietnam War, the different things that was taking place there. GI, go home, GI. Your allies have left you, GI, right? It says, Nahum 3:19, there is no healing of thy bruise, thy wound is grievous. So that's what they're trying to do now, trying to heal themselves. This says, there is no healing of thy bruise, thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap their hands over thee, for upon whom have not thy wickedness passed continually. All right. It says Trump pledges to press for construction of modern defense plants in U.S. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Truth Social that he would press for the construction of new modern plants to produce weapons. In his post, Trump said salaries of top managers in the U.S. defense sector were exorbitant and unjustifiable. From this moment forward, these executives must build new and modern production plants, both for delivering and maintaining this important equipment and for building the latest models of future military equipment. Until they do so, no executive should be allowed to make in excess of $5 million. I just read this. Is it the same thing? Let me see. Oh, it is the same thing. Stop here. Here's another one. Let me see. Here we go. Production rate of U.S. defense companies too slow. This is what this man posted today. And they have already been talking about this regarding Ukraine and Israel. They were saying, oh, the reason why they had to do a ceasefire, or the case may be, was to rearm because they ran out of weapons. Right? Multiple people have come, military analysts, all of that have said it. And guess what AI just told me? I said, U.S. and NATO not able to keep up with missile production. AI overview. Yes, the U.S. and NATO are struggling to keep up with missile production due to decades of underinvestment. Optimized defense industries for shorter conflicts, depleted stockpiles from supporting Ukraine, and supply chain issues for key components, leading to significant backlogs and delays in replenishing critical systems. Like I said, Ukraine is still waiting on missiles, right? So it's like the Patriot interceptors, though efforts are underway to ramp up capacity, Russia conversely has shifted its economy to wartime footing. I didn't know this part right here. And I'll be saying that. The Most High Yahweh Bashman Rashad, pursuant to Ezekiel 38, has turned Russia back, right? Russia had enough missiles to make missiles for themselves and then give some to other people and still have enough, right? They're moving quick, right? They talk about how you have this, I'm gonna just throw some numbers. You have this missile. The missile costs $50 billion, right? And you make it slow as hell. This is US and Israel, right? And then you have this drone from Russia that costs $2. And they got, or let's say Iran, right? You got this drone from Iran that costs $2, and they throw 1,000 of them at you. and you go to shoot the little missiles you got that cost 50 billion and take forever to make against this drone that has a high yield, but it costs less, and it took them a day to make. They sent 1,000. That's what's happening, right? So America is really behind, and these are things that they have been saying, you know, military analysts and things like that. See, Ezekiel 38:4 says, "And I will turn thee back." You have the USSR, right? It fell, but now they're back, and they're on wartime footing, like the AI just told us. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. And I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shield, all of them handling swords. You know, so let me make sure it's good over here. So that's what's happening. So back to the AI, it says Russia, conversely, has shifted its economy, right, to wartime footing, outpacing Western output. This is AI. All I asked it was what happened. It's telling me. It says, but NATO allies are increasing artillery shell production significantly, narrowing the gap. The scriptures say NATO is going to join Russia because, as you can see, you know, in pursuant to scripture, the Most High is going to cause them to also join with Russia. And if that is the case, then that could be why. Trump is telling them, what did Trump tell them? The new strategy doctrine, you know, new security strategy doctrine. Y'all remember, right? Trump's talking about, hey, listen, basically in that strategy doctrine, he was saying that NATO needs to do better for themselves and, you know, lean more on themselves and not on me. And now the talks is NATO and, you know, America is ending. All right. 17 and 10, 17 and 16. It says, Revelation 17 and 16, and the 10 horns, NATO, right? And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire, right? NATO EU. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. But mind you, right here, Revelation 7 and 12, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. For a time period with the beast, it says, these have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. So that's why NATO and America was booming, right? They conquered USSR and everything else. They did the 1948ers, right? They helped them up and all of that. But now it says, in the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Yahweh, Bashim shall have put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree to give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of Yahweh, Bashim shall be fulfilled. Right? And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. And that is America. America is running this place. All right. As you can see, they talking about it right now. Fucking Colombia, better watch your back. Denmark, we need it. All right. Mexico, Canada, the Western Hemisphere of mine, and your area too. They saying all of that. We go to Obadiah 1 and 7. It says, Obadiah 1 and 7, all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. Yeah, that's NATO and EU. All right. So pretty much that's all I had. Like I said, this was posted in multiple areas. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Truth Social that he would press for defense, right? And we got Yahoo, you know, Trump blocks defense company payouts until arms is increased, right? Trump threatens defense contractors. 3 hours ago, Trump orders defense companies to stop. You know, he's basically telling like, yo, what the hell is y'all doing? Y'all don't see I'm out here talking that shit? We need it like yesterday. Yeah, so, you know, like I said, um, Trump is out here seizing up the shit. All right. So, that's all I got. Shalom to the whole select, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.